space. Got it again. The inbound. Kawaknoi's done it once. Can Bruce be the man this time? Oh! You've got to be kidding me! Lightning strikes twice for the Sydney Kings.
Welcome to John Cain Arena, where the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix get set to do battle with the Illawarra Hawks. Now, the Illawarra Hawks, it has not been a season to remember so far, but for fans looking for a bit of confidence, their one win of the season did come over the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. So, Leonard Copeland, there is at least some positivity for the Hawks fans out there.
Absolutely. Look, they got to win against this team. They feel comfortable with this team. They got 2 new imports coming in, so look out for them.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll have a look at the ladder right now, because the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix doing a little better than fans would have predicted. They're somehow 4th, even though for only 1 game this year, they have had their entirety of their roster available for selection.
Absolutely. When you miss players like the Brown and Kell and Chi, it's going to hurt you. But Mitch Creek has been a guy who's carried this team. He's made this team play a lot better than they usually would, and I look forward to seeing him play. Well,
speaking on Mitch Creek, it's a special night for the great man because he's playing his 300th game. He started his career 12 years ago when the Townsville Crocs were still in the league.
That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago.
There's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, and what a fantastic career we've seen so far. 300 NBL games, so at the Adelaide 36ers. He's been here since the inception for Southeast Melbourne, and I'll tell you what, at this stage of his career, he is in MVP form, leading the league in scoring.
Generally, he's always been an MVP player. He's the kind of guy that carries a team. I love the fact that he can be the man, but I still, from the beginning, just said to myself, he needs to shoot the ball a little bit more. When he doesn't shoot the ball, they're in trouble. He needs to put the team on his back and carry this team to a championship.
Well, one person who has been carrying this team somewhat is Gary Brown. If Mitch Creek is the engine room in this team, then Gary Brown is the swagger both on and off the court. Some of the outfits that this guy is rocking up to the game in.
Who does this guy think? He thinks he's in the NBA? What's wrong? Who is this guy? Look, let me tell you something. This guy has the ball on the string, though. If I played with a guy like this back in my days, I would have averaged 50 points a game.
Oh, I think I'm reading behind the lines there. You might be taking a shot at the great Andrew Gaze.
Andrew Gaze never passed the ball. We know that.
Gary Brown, look, his ability to distribute the ball has been the difference maker since he came back into this team. At the start of the year, we almost wrote him off. Gary Brown came in and bang, now he's all we're talking.
But look, when he's leading this team, he's making sure guys get involved. He's getting the ball to the right people. Plus, he can shoot from outside, and he's a hell of a defender.
Well, the man you see on your screen right there had some fighting words in the media this week, just claiming that the critics might be a little too fierce. But I'll tell you what, if you're sitting at the record you're sitting on, only having 1 game, I'm definitely not holding back, and I don't think you will too, Leonard.
Listen to me, when you've only won 1 game, you're going to get criticized. This is a performance-based league. You have to win games. If you don't, you end up losing your team, and you generally, you get fired. It is what it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Illawarra Hawks fans out there, Jackamus may be let off the loose this because Michael Frazier, you may have seen him for the Perth Wildcats, coming back in for this unit. They have made the changes. We just need to see the performance on the court.
Absolutely, and look, he's a guy who can get going. He said his job is to defend and play hard defense and get the ball to the basket, and I'm looking forward to him doing just that because he can be dynamic at times.
Well, that's exactly what they're going to need. Look, he was impressive for the Perth Wildcats, but as you said, the Illawarra Hawks just need that ferocity, and I think that, as you said, he's going to be able to bring it.
Look, when they lost the game last week, it was a heartbreaker for them. But generally, when you lose a game like that, you come back fired up. So I'm expecting a tough game tonight. It won't be as easy as you think.
Well, the Hawks are looking for a bounce back, and the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix looking to celebrate Mitch Creek's 300. Let's throw it upstairs to Gazy, Liam, and, of course, Andrew Gaze.
Thank you very much, Felix von Hofgaze. He's so good, he's in there twice.
I like it.
Sunday afternoon hoops. Great to have your company, everyone. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, Liam, as I welcome you, coming off a big win over Melbourne last Saturday. Final margin was 15. It felt like a lot more than 15. Is this team starting to click into gear now?
Yeah, I mean, they dominated that game. It kept Melbourne at 46 after 3 quarters and just won it comfortably. And you're right, they've won 5 of their last 7. Here's the starting lineup. It's star-studded, and they know who they're rolling out to, and they know who they're getting the ball. Mitch Creek, he's going to play some bully ball in his 300, and Alan Williams getting work done down low.
There's a champion starting 5 for Southeast Melbourne. For the Illawarra Hawks, it's been an ever-evolving thing. Their champion starting five, Gazy.
It is. And
it's moving all the time.
Thank you very much. And that man on your screen, Tyler Harvey, he's starting to find some form the last 3 games in particular. And an outstanding performance last week against the Sydney Kings. Peyton Seaver is a welcome addition to help with a lot of the ball-carrying duties and just trying to help the offense function a little bit better. And Sam Froling, he's going to have a big one, not just in this game, the entire remainder of the season, if the Illawarra Hawks are going to be competitive with some of the better teams in the competition.
South East Melbourne, 4 wins, 2 losses at John Cain Arena this season. Unfortunately for the Illawarra Hawks, as we highlighted with the ladder, just the 1 win. The omen for them is it did come against South East Melbourne in round 2. Our officials, Hugh Starkey, Damien Lyons, and Michael Aylen in game number 801. And we are away for Sunday Hoops. Just moments ago, New Zealand absolutely flogging the Brisbane Bullets. We'll get to that game very shortly. 116-79, the final score in that one. Seaver. First look, not a bad one. Rebound by Alan Williams, who's averaging 12 rebounds and 21 points in his last 3 games.
Yeah, he's been huge for him. Really found a whole bunch of form, and they'll make a focus of him tonight on the interior.
This take from Cal.
Well, it is a good move, and they recognise the size advantage with Kel, and they also recognise that Kel hasn't been getting it going the last few games, and I think for him to see it go through the basket early on, and pretty simple stuff, no weak side help. And that's the thing about this Phoenix squad. You look at Kel, and even when we've been lauding Gary Brown of what he's been able to do, but his shooting numbers are down 36% overall, 21 from 3, and I just think there's still a lot more to give with this Phoenix team, and that's an encouraging sign.
Trey Cal had 24 points in round 5, has gone 6, 10, and 8 in his last 3. Early bucket is good for him. Swaka Labulik has nowhere to go. Nice D from Brockhoff. When the 2 teams met in round 2, there was no Ryan Brockhoff, Trey Cal, Gary Brown, or Joe Chi, who's not out there today.
Well, that's a fair chunk. That is a fair chunk of your squad that's missing.
There's a steal from Brockhoff. And the hops.
Well, it's a clunky start for the Hawks at the offensive end. Really not getting anything good in these first few possessions, and that was a nasty turnover at midcourt.
Dang took it to the rack. Cal got a lot of ball, but he got some body as well and was called for the foul.
Well, here's the Amy replay, and it's sloppy by Dang. Just, I don't know, maybe he didn't see Brockhoff. I got no idea why he would make that pass at that situation, and that's an easy 2 and a nice finish by Brockhoff as well. But this is an impressive defensive start by Phoenix. Clearly they're not taking the Illawarra Hawks for granted, and why would you after we saw what they did last week against the Sydney Kings on the road? But they've been up and in, they've been disruptive, and the first few possessions would be really pleasing for Simon Mitchell of what they're doing on the defensive end.
Such a barometer for this Phoenix team, what they bring at that end of the floor. Spoke about the lockdown D they played last week against Melbourne, but the 2 games prior to that gave up over 100 and lost both those games. So do they bring the starch defensively? Tells the tale for this squad.
Trey Cal, they go back to him on that matchup with Seaver. His size is a problem early on, and he's got 2 free throws coming.
It is, and there's matchups all over the place for this Phoenix team, and they've clearly identified this as one. Like I said, just a little touch by Seaver. It's one, it's not just about recognising the size advantage, it's an understanding of we've got to find a ways to get Trey Cal going. Last 3 games have been below par on the offensive end. And there's Michael Frazier. It's one that's really interesting to see how he goes with a different lineup, because his numbers don't really jump off the page from what he did last season, but I think that he's got some really good upside.
That situation last year at Perth, for a few different reasons, Liam, was just a messy one. So hopefully
Well, he was cut at one stage, wasn't he? Cut, then reinstated. And
Well, yeah, that was on the cards. You look at the last game of the season against the Phoenix, that memorable loss, 22 points, has the ability to get some things done.
That's not a bad start.
well, it's not. And the first shot is probably one that you've normally be hoping to ease yourself into it a little bit better than that, but a step back, 3, and it goes in. And you also worry because, as I looked at what he's been doing recently, nothing really of note. So, not sure how much basketball he's played in the last few months.
Williams, sloppy pass inside. Here's Frazier. Quickly up the floor. And the extra pass for Froling sees Illawarra tied up.
Great push from Frazier. First 2 possessions offensively, and he has helped put some points on the board as they goes down low to Williams, draws the foul on Froling.
Well, here's the Frazier one we're talking about here. Little step back, and that's just good push of the ball and an excellent find as well.
He looks in really good shape, Drewy. I was interested to see, as you say, haven't been able to track down if he's been playing or what he's been doing, but he was quick on that push of the ball. And the fleet of foot on the step back was nice.
You hit him on the eye. 77.
And foul on Deng Deng. A little contact on Mitch Creek in game number 300.
Not sure why Deng Deng had a look of bemusement on that one. It seemed like a pretty straightforward reaching and slapping.
It can happen a bit when he's called for a foul, that look. Froling rips down the rebound, but didn't know that Creek was behind him. Didn't give up on the play, though. Takes it to the other end, lays it up, Illawarra lead.
Well, after a little shaky start, this has been a good couple of minutes by the Hawks. And doing it in transition.
Creek backing in on Frazier. Got to his left hand, but travelled first.
Well, they're out here getting stops. Ever since Peyton Seaver picked up his second foul, went to the bench, Frazier came in. They have elevated their play at the defensive end, and for a team that really struggles to score in the half court, last in the league in offensive efficiency, getting some early offensive looks off their defense is helping.
Tip in from Deng Deng.
That's just effort. Went in there. Harvey with a force shot. And Deng Deng does a good job to get the little tip in.
They've scored the last 9, Illawarra. It's starting at the defensive end of the floor, as Liam said. Frazier. The foot inside the line, that's money. Timeout, Southeast Melbourne. That man came onto the court and has changed the whole game.
100% he has. He's come on there, given a huge spark on the offensive end, a 3-ball. And then this little one here, Creek way off in that drop situation almost. And just Frazier steps into an easy mid-range. Nothing but the bottom of the net. The excitement after a indifferent start for the Hawks. They've been able to regroup, and Frazier's come in and given it a spark.
They lead at 12-6. Earlier today, Leonard Copeland caught up with Illawarra's new import, Michael Frazier, and asked him what he's been up to since we last saw him.
I played with USA Basketball this summer for the 3 qualifying windows for Coach Jim Boylan, so that helped me stay in shape, stay ready. But yeah, I'm definitely grateful to be back in Australia, back in the NBL. You know, I just got the call, and they told me that they were looking for somebody to come in and, you know, be a defender and somebody that can attack on the offensive end and, you know, basically get to a bucket. So, you know, I thought it would be a great fit, and, you know, the morale of the team, the energy has been great. Everybody's made me feel so welcome and, you know, helped me get acclimated to the system very quickly. So it's been really good so far.
Well, it's a very small sample size that we've seen today, but he looks fit. He said he's been working out, hasn't been playing any sort of competitive basketball, but has been in the gym, and he just looks like he's here and he's ready to play.
And you'd have to imagine there's a little bit of a chip on that shoulder after the experience last season in Perth. You know, never really got going. The team kind of gave up on him, essentially. We're bringing someone else in to replace him, and the team underwhelmed as Williams can't finish there. Another stop for the Hawks. Now he comes back into the same league on a different team. Opportunity to rock and roll and make a bit of a statement.
And the thing about it too is it's not just about what he does on the floor. What he had to go through with the Wildcats last year with the uncertainty. Allegedly, he was a high-character guy that handled a difficult set of circumstances really well.
Dave O'Hickey checking in for his first minutes.
Well, he had his best game in the NBL last week against the Sydney Kings as well. And just a little left elbow by Williams.
He's okay, though. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists last Sunday. Very talented young player. Brockhoff, good look. Got it.
Well, that's wet. Can't leave Ryan Brockhoff that open on the perimeter, shooting 46% from long range this season.
Well, I don't know if you saw the social media clip of him this week as Froling gets some heavy traffic, and that's just a beautiful pass by Brown. And Mitch Creek with the finish. And the transition basketball looking very sharp for Phoenix. But that little social media clip where Creaky was throwing them back for the 3 balls for Ryan Brockhoff at the top of the key. I think he reeled out about 28 in a row.
You just fell down. Hey, just leave it. You fell down, man. Great. We got it, right? Hey, I get it. We don't need to start something that we...
So he aims him up. Please, don't even fucking...
Let it go. Let it go.
We'll take another look at this. Interesting to hear the sounds of the game.
Oh, that is a flop. Oh, that's actually a poor flop too.
Oh, dear.
Oh, that's... Actually, it wasn't as bad. From that angle, it's not as bad as it looks. I still think it's a flop. There's no doubt it's a flop, but...
Big, strong unit.
There was that forearm into the guts of Ding Ding. And might have just caught him in a vulnerable spot.
Careless pass from Tim Conrad. Brown lost the handle. Illawarra dodge a bullet. Hickey for Harvey. His first real opportunity. Offensive rebound, Conrad into Frazier.
Oh, wow. Ready to fire. Jeez, he's on the front foot, isn't he, Michael Frazier? What a red-hot start to his stint in Illawarra this has been.
There will be some Perth Wildcats supporters watching this game with a little tear in their eye, I'd imagine.
Well, we saw this from time to time with the Wildcats, but just not at the same level. And ironically, it was against Phoenix when he was with the Perth Wildcats. I think he only averaged 7 or 8 in the season, but was averaged 15 against the Phoenix. So he welcomes the defense that Phoenix have been able to dish up. Oh, and it's almost another little step back, that time to the right that falls.
He has 8 points. Michael Frazier is the game's leading scorer. Let's get courtside to Leonard Copeland.
Fellas, I don't know if Gazy needs his glasses or what, but I was standing right here. That was not a flop. Ding Ding got hit right in the rib cage, though, and he's still hurting right now.
Oh. We're only judging what we see on the replay for the 14th time, and there is no doubt that that is a flop, Cope. So maybe you don't have the luxury of having a look at the replay.
Break off the inbound scores.
And here's the challenge for the Hawks at the defensive end, and they've been pretty good so far, keeping the Phoenix to 13, but this is what Southeast Melbourne want to do. They're last in the league in three-point attempts, second last in three-point percentage, but they're first in free throw attempts. They put all kinds of heat on the rim. Also first in the league in offensive rebounds. So can you keep them out of the paint, off the offensive glass, force them into becoming a jump shooting team? That's how you need to have success against this Phoenix squad.
A lot of discussion around Xavier Cooks and his start to the season and the way that New Zealand is starting to build, but Mitch Creek, the #1 scorer in the competition, is putting together an MVP caliber season right now. He's also the #1 player in the competition, Liam, for that stat you were talking about, free throw attempts. He gets to the line per game more than any other player. Brown assessing his options from the elbow. Phoenix back in front.
And that's his sweet spot. Gary Brown wants to get his feet inside the arc. See if he can get feet in the paint and find teammates, but also the mid-range pull-up is where he's comfortable. Timeout Illawarra. Phoenix starting to get going.
16-15, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix leading by 1 with 3 minutes remaining. We saw Ryan Brockhoff with this knockdown 3 a couple of moments ago. He has 5 points to start the game, but this is the social media clip that you were talking about, Andrew Gaze.
Yes, it is. And you know what? If you go and watch this, the only thing I would say, Cricky, come on, mate, tidy up some of those passes back to your man, because some of them were all over the place. Down low, you want to catch it in that sweet spot, but he was making so many of them. What was it, 27?
43.
43 in a row. Now, that is some good shooting. You get that rhythm, and to not fatigue and have that concentration for that long is not easy. But, and he had Creaky throwing some shocking passes back.
I suspect there might have been a bit of a competition in place at that point. That's what those passes suggested to me. So,
play a bit of defense.
You know, we're 25 in a row deep here. Why don't you just take one at the shins?
That's it. It's good shooting. We've seen it, and I think, I don't know if it was real or not, but we saw Steph Curry one a couple of seasons ago. I think he just clicked over 100 in the corner, I think it was.
Of course, there's the ability to do it we saw something similar from Dusty Hannes.
Yes, yes.
On his way into the NBL.
Didn't quite translate.
Didn't quite translate. And Brockhoff, to be honest, hasn't lit it up in his time in the NBL before this season. He comes in as a guy we've known from the NBA and in Europe, and certainly for the Boomers, as just a marksman from long range. But this season has found that mojo.
Had that one game in Illawarra last season where he did absolutely go off.
Well, second half in the first game against the Perth Wildcats as well, he was the difference. Bit of foul trouble and had the green light and the licence. And
nice hands from Junior Madut. He knocks it out of play. He was their leading scorer when the teams met in round 2. Had 21 and 7, career high numbers for him. Haven't seen a lot of him in recent times. Foul on Alex Madronya. So a different lineup out there at the moment for Illawarra. Mathiang, Dent, Madronya, Conrad and Frazier. And the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, Madut, Cal, Tarangi, Dane Pinot, the man in the middle with Mitch Creek.
And this is where those free throw attempts are really going to start to pile up. Now the Phoenix continually putting heat on the rim, post catches, interior catches, and it's free throws the rest of the way here in this first quarter.
Southeast Melbourne 6 and 5 on the season. Illawarra just the one win.
And we've played 7.5 minutes, and already the Illawarra Hawks, if my eyes don't deceive me, and coach suggests that they are a little wonky, the Illawarra Hawks have already had 11 different players enter the field of play. Now, that's a lot.
Only player to not put his feet on the timber as yet is AK Gat. Everyone else has had some first quarter burn. Madronya with 4 on the shot clock. Spins inside, can't get it done. Tarangi gave it up, and Madronya will get a second chance. It's 1 point the difference again. Every time that Southeast Melbourne look like they're going to pull away, Illawarra do a good enough job of remaining in it.
Well, they've been helpful. 5 turnovers already, and most of those have led to almost indefensible situations.
Pinot rolls to the cup.
Nice catch from Pinot on the move. This is something we haven't seen from the Phoenix so far this season. Trey Cal at the point guard position. Kyle Adnam not playing today, minor knee sprain, and with Gary Brown having a rest, put the ball in the hands of Trey Kell. Said you can run our squad.
Creek pulls up for three. Walked into that one and shot it like he meant it.
He's playing with all sorts of confidence and playing like he's in the wrong league, let's be honest. He's been really physical, knocking down the three ball, great leadership, and does his fair share of work at this end of the floor and on the boards as well.
A minute remaining in the opening quarter. All sorts of space here.
Well, this is the thing with Mitch Creek when he pushes it in transition. He will always have that shot because he's such a terror when he puts his head down and gets to the rim. There's Joe Chi, bit of a sleeping giant on this squad as well. Hasn't really got going this season. Still dealing with a calf issue. Sitting this one out.
Lockie Dent set sail from long range. Alan Williams has pushed everyone off. Said, get off me. That's caught Conrad's foot on the way out, so it'll be a Southeast Melbourne ball. 17 on the shot clock. 43 seconds remaining in quarter number one earlier today. New Zealand winning 116 to 79 over the Brisbane Bullets. A tough initiation for Sam McKinnon in his first game as coach. Kell for three.
I do say he's probably enjoying the opportunity to play a little the one. Trey Kell, get the ball in his hands a little more regularly, make some plays. Got off to a fast start here. 7 points in this opening quarter.
Since the timeout that Simon Mitchell called when they were down 6, it's been a 20-5 run for Southeast Melbourne. Mathian can't change their fortunes. Shot clock switched off. Kell running the point, has 7 in this opening term. Conrad will put Southeast Melbourne back on the line.
2 bonus. 2 shots. Push him into the defender. Bonus 2. Here we go. 2 shots. Let's line it up. Here we go. Go.
Heard the explanation there from the official.
Well, it seemed like that Conrad just was trying to maybe shunt the screener, I guess, and gets called for the foul. A little kink in that shot. There's a little something going on halfway through it. And here we see it. Now, that is just a poor umpiring decision. Nothing in that whatsoever. And Dane Pino here, he goes up there. There's just a little thing halfway through.
Sort of woke Giddy.
There's a little bit of that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Conrad from deep. The Phoenix got going in a big way at the back end of the quarter. They lead it by 10 on Sunday Hoops. 27-17. You're watching the Hungry Jacks NBL. Sunday hoops at John Cain Arena in Melbourne. The Southeast Melbourne Phoenix playing host to the Illawarra Hawks. A big crowd in the house. They're continuing to grow their fan base, Southeast Melbourne. It's getting harder and harder to get a ticket to their home games now. And well, I think their fans would have a lot to like about the way they played in the second part of that first quarter, Liam Santamarie. They lead 27-17.
Yeah, up to a little bit of a slow start those first few minutes, and then the timeout from Simon Mitchell. They haven't looked back since then, 21-5 since that point. And they're knocking on the door of the top three, the Phoenix. They win this, if Sydney beat Cairns tomorrow, they'll be tied with the Taipans on wins and losses, and really starting to grow in confidence.
Williams misses a bunny. Trey Cowell reels it in. Second time around makes good. Meanwhile, for the Illawarra Hawks, Andrew Gase, started off so well, but it certainly didn't finish well for them.
It did, and they had their problems with the turnovers as well, the 4 turnovers, and weren't able to get Tyler Harvey going at all, coming off a huge game against the Kings. He only had 3 field goal attempts, 0 for 3 in his almost 7.5 minutes. And yet another turnover, and a sloppy one at that.
That's the duo, isn't it, Drewy? Tyler Harvey, Sam Froling. Hawks are going to have any chance against some of these better teams as Creek finishes at the rim. Those two are going to need to have big games. They were both good last week against Sydney. Almost got over the line, but a combined 2 points thus far. A couple of turnovers.
Sam Foling's last 3 games, he's averaged 16 and 11. Haven't seen it so far today. Brokoff forces Harvey to give it up. Seaver from deep. That's good.
Well, they desperately needed that. And 3 of 9 from the 3-point line. Only shooting at 36% before that one from the field. But it's this end of the floor. It's starting to look a little porous, the Illawarra defense.
Leads back to 13 and Frazier travels. Here's the Amy replay. Peyton Seaver with the deep treble. Didn't see him last weekend due to a little calf complaint. Oh. Deng Deng and Mitch Creek getting caught up again.
Well, the only explanation...
Deng's got that look in his face again where he doesn't like the call.
Yeah, this is a push. You look at Deng Deng top of the screen and he just shunts him. Now he's trying to do that so Frazier can go under the screen. So he's just trying to get it as high as he possibly can. And just that time, just a little too aggressive by Deng Deng.
Gary Brown starting to cook. The points are coming thick and fast for Southeast Melbourne. Illawarra need more of that.
They do. Need more Tyler Harvey. Get him involved offensively, but also got to get some stops. Gary Brown, foot on the line last time round. Turnover here. Chance for the Hawks to run.
Harvey's threw it upstairs for Deng Deng. He wants to tell everyone about it.
Well, he had a little something to say to Mitch Creek. I think Mitch had a few words to Deng Deng with that earlier situation where there was the hint of a flop. And I don't think Deng Deng took too kindly to it.
Brown doesn't get it to go with the left hand. And Creek defers inside. That's an easy 2 for Williams.
Can't give up those boards. The Hawks. Mentioned earlier, the Phoenix best in the league at gaining extra possessions off the offensive glass, so must block out, limit them to 1 shot.
Average 13 offensive rebounds a game. That's a big number. Deng Deng wants to take it at Creek.
He's got to pick his time, because sometimes the emotion can get the better of you and you're trying to make a statement against someone that is just a little agitated with.
Long rebound falls for Peyton Seaver. Frazier wide open in the corner. He has looked sharp.
Continues to pile on the points. He's got 11 now. Leads the way for the Hawks off the bench, and really good find. Firstly from Tyler Harvey, up and above for Deng Deng. And then secondly from Deng Deng. Had a head of steam in transition and being able to find Michael Frazier in the corner.
I love it. He's not going to back down. Had the opportunity to coach Deng Deng for a season or two, and that's one thing. He's got great competitive spirit, and I like what I've seen, the way aggressive nature he's gone about it.
Brockhoff trains the 3. He's got 8 points now in pretty quick time. Timeout called by the Phoenix, by the Hawks, I should say. 40-28, 6:11 remaining in this second quarter. There's Mitch Creek celebrating game number 300 today, and we caught up with him pre-game, and he spoke about the milestone.
I mean, it's pretty special. There's not, you know, a lot of country kids from Horsham that could probably say that they've been able to play 300 games. I never thought I'd play, you know, one, let alone 300. But to be here tonight is very special. A lot of messages from old coaches, friends, family, people who've helped out along the way. So it's nice and humbling because you get to be reminisced with all the amazing people you've been able to meet along the way.
Speaking of those country kids from Country Victoria, 13 players have played 500 NBL games. Country Victoria has produced more than any other region. Names like Glenn Saville, Matt Campbell, Ray Borner, and Paul Rees, all over 500, and Mitch Creek heading in that direction now.
No, he's been a star, and he's one that I don't know. Look at the numbers there, 22 and almost a half points per game, leads the league in points per game, and just the, again, competitive spirit, the way in which that as a youngster coming into the league, the way his game has evolved. The perimeter action was not his go early on, but just through sheer work, he's really moulded himself into someone that's got to be respected from the three-point line. You saw that in transition here, and can play bully ball with the best of them. And at the other end of the floor, can match up on a variety of different combinations. He's a good guy to have in your team. He can switch, he can guard the 4s and 5s. Also can keep some of the guards in front of him. So he's a unique beast in this competition, and congratulations to him.
See that nice crossover. Swings to Sam Froling. That was nice.
Good hit. Sam Froling, if he can keep the defense honest with the jump shot, just adds a whole nother string to his bow.
Gets it back inside single figures, but only for a moment. Gary Brown doing whatever he likes.
Well, it's all about the defense right now. The Phoenix is shooting at 64%. They're perfect 4 of 4 from the three-point line. And you can see why with action like that.
Rolling inside. Put the ball on the floor. Great athleticism from the big man.
The catch was spectacular. Wasn't able to finish it. The pass was even better. And good follow-up. And there we see two Hawks players colliding. Just pinpoint accuracy, and just an unfortunate collision. Brockhoff does a good job of following it up as well.
Perfectly weighted pass.
Leonard Copeland courtside.
Simon was speaking about just keeping that ball humming around. You got to keep the ball moving. Don't let it stick. This is a danger game. And defensively, Illawarra are scoring too easily.
10 assists on 17 made field goals.
Well, they've been pretty healthy as well. 48%, 5 of 11 from the three-point line. They've been going along nicely. Just that the Phoenix doing it a little better.
One game still to come in round 8 tomorrow night. Cairns and Sydney do battle at the Convention Centre. Harvey's floater brings it back to a 10-point game.
Well, after scoreless first quarter, Harvey 2 of 2 in this second.
Here we see it again. Gary Brown checks out. Trey Kell slides across to the point guard position, and they're just having trouble staying in front of the ball, the Hawks. Brown puts the Jets on, dimes up Williams, and there, Trey Kell, easy attack on the rim.
Harvey steps out of bounds. Drew, in that situation, what do Illawarra do when they're leaking so many points off that drive and dish play? How do you change that mid-game?
Well, how they're handling the on-ball, there's been a little bit of confusion with that, which has created some of those roll-off passes, but that other time it's just straight driving. Sometimes you just got to sit down and keep someone in front of you And, of course, how you can rely on the weak side help. Maybe test the perimeter and build a wall behind the wall, but just sit down and keep people in front.
So pack the paint a little bit more, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, now you are susceptible when you're doing that because you've got those kick-out passes and you see the way in which they're being able to move the ball, the Phoenix. But on the season, they haven't been great from the three-point line, and the way and with the ease at which they're scoring, and this has been a problem because Williams down low, they've made it a target of him. Now, he hasn't always been able to make them, but the entry pass with him, and there's mum and dad loving the work of their son.
They are loving their time in Australia, those two. Absolutely loving it.
And they've also done that with Trey Bell, look to post him up a lot. So the inside-outside game, but to me, it's just a little bit more intensity on guarding the ball. And you can see why, with the way Phoenix have been playing, why they lead the league in free throws. The attack on the rim, the attack on the rim puts a lot of pressure on your defense.
On the flip side, that's the challenge for the Hawks, to put some heat on the rim themselves. This Phoenix team last in the league in blocks. I haven't seen a lot of Joe Chi out there. They got no one in the top 40 for blocks per game. The Phoenix, as Creek can't finish at the rim, the Hawks take it away. So put some pressure on him at the rim.
His hands by Creek, knocked it away from Froling. You need to get the floor wiped.
Daddy's dangerous as hell.
I trust you.
And if you don't go down, I will.
Yeah, I trust you more than anything. So
I'm on the baseline. I
Bit
can't
of perspiration on the timber.
Someone right there, though.
That's a good call. Got to wipe it up. We saw Rayan Repair go down on a wet spot earlier this season in New Zealand. And not ideal. So wipe it up, keep him safe.
Williams sits down. He's very quickly become a fan favourite.
Well, his form in the last month has been really good, really settled into the NBL, the officiating, and how he can help his team. And it's going to be interesting when Joe Chi does come back, how they implement him into the rotation, because Williams has found that nice spot with his minutes and been rewarding him as well. Little zone defense now by the Hawks.
Go off target. Offensive rebound, Dane Pinot. Second look at things here for the Phoenix. The Creek guarded by the younger Hickey. Matthew ain't got a piece of that. And it's last touch Pinot.
And this is how Jacob Jackomas has tried to answer your question. Yeah, it is, Jack. If you can't stay in front of the ball, what do you need to do defensively? I agree with Drewy. You got to man up, sit down and stay in front of the ball. But he's saying, all right, well, if the guys aren't doing that, let's flip it up. Jump into a little zone, see if we can force the Phoenix to make some jump shots.
Well, they haven't been great. 9th in the competition, I believe, around 31% on the season from the three-point line. They are, I think, better than that, than the numbers indicate, but still, big sample size. There's a good drive into the paint.
Will Hickey's first points of the afternoon. Phoenix lead by 12. Kel's baseline.
That's what you can't do. Again, same issue. Just a hard closeout, and then he opens up the baseline, Sam Froling, and a straight line drive to the rim for Kel.
And even in the zone, there was no one on the weak side there really in a position to help.
Harvey through contact, and he's got free throws coming.
And this is what I'd like to see from Tyler Harvey. Don't settle. Get 2 feet in the paint, draw some contact, get to the free throw line. Find ways to tick it over. I mean, Drewy, nobody knows better than you about getting to the line as a way to just continue to tick that scoreboard over and find your rhythm.
Oh, 100%. And I think with Tyler Harvey, the way in which they're playing, and as has experienced throughout his entire time in the NBL, is they're up and in and really trying to take away that three ball. And
do you like him more at the 2, Drewy? We've seen since Peyton Seaver's come in that he's playing more of the 2. Even last week without Seaver, Lockie Dent ran the point. And Will Hickey. and Will Hickey. Do you like him more in that spot, or do you like him as a traditional point?
I think a bit of both. I think that him working off the ball, he moves well without the ball. And then then it comes down to the systems, the sets you're going to run for him. But sometimes you need the ball in your hands, and just to make things happen. And even if you're not shooting it, the mere fact you've got it in your hands a lot is another way you can get yourself going.
Offensive foul on Creek. That was a fabulous 24 seconds of defensive play from Will Hickey then.
It was good. Good hustle from the group. I like the help as well. They look like they were in the zone, and then they flip out after a couple of passes to the man. And then Will Hickey is probably always going to go down. Timed it beautifully.
The problem is if you don't go down, you don't get that call.
Mathiang muscles inside on Pinot. Doesn't finish first time around. It's fouled second.
Here we go, shots. 2 shots, line up. Go.
This is what we were talking about before. No rim protection on the floor for the Phoenix. Dane Pinot's an outstanding defender. Gets out on the pick and roll, one of the best at the hard show as the help defender, but not a renowned shot blocker, nor is Alan Williams. So they don't have that in action at all today. So see if you can get some catches down low. Attack the paint, put some heat on the rim.
This man is a shot blocker, Mango Mathiang. 6th in the competition in that stat. Unfortunately for him, at the line this season, only 40%. So if you're a Victorian basketball fan right now, the odds are with you that cheeseburgers could be on their way. Not just yet. Phoenix lead by 10 at quarter time. They lead by 12 now, with 90 seconds remaining in the opening half. Creek with his back to the basket. Isolated Frazier. He's been called for his second.
It's his favourite move, Mitch Creek. He catches it in that block. Little pound dribble, and then works his way over that right shoulder to that left hand, and has the ability, a la James Harden, to just work his arms through the contact and draw the whistle.
It's easier said than done, but your objective when you've got Creek on that box is don't play from behind. Even 3/4 front or even full front, your odds are better relying on some weak side help than if he gets it down low, because he is so crafty and he can draw those fouls. He's a tough proposition to guard anywhere on the floor, but with that size down on the box, you really got to send a double team.
Michael Frazier, Illawarra's leading scorer, has 11 in his first game for the club. Mitch Creek, the leading scorer in the game, with 13. And South East Melbourne have 4 players in double figures as they head to half-time. Brown, a long pass for Brockhoff, who did well just to keep it alive. Shot clock rolls to single numbers. Tarangi for 3. Can't get that to stick. Mathiang casually walking the ball up the floor. Shot clock at 7 for Frazier with a hand in the face. That battles out also. 4 of 7 in the first half. 5-second, I should say, differential between game and shot clock. The Phoenix already past 50. Brockhoff turns the corner, bang! Late 3 to finish the half. And a sloppy end for the Illawarra Hawks. South East Melbourne have 54 on the board in the opening half.
Yeah, and that's too many if you're the Illawarra Hawks, and they're doing it at 57% from the field, 5 of 8 from the three-point line. And that's just beautiful footwork. Comes off, plants to the left, squares up with the right. That's textbook stuff and goes straight into it. And it's all about the defense at halftime for the Illawarra Hawks.
Let's get courtside to Leonard Copeland.
Big Sauce, you guys seem to be in control of this one. What do you need to do to finish this one off?
Got to remain neutral. You know, we got to look at the second half like it's 0-0 and go out and have that same kind of defensive intensity that we had at the start of this game.
You seem to be getting more comfortable as time goes on. Do you feel like you're making an effort here?
Yeah, you know, it's every day. We're getting better as a team. I'm getting better as a player, and just enjoying playing with this team in front of this crowd tonight. It's awesome.
Now, your parents are here. Are they enjoying themselves?
They love it. They love Australia, and I'm convinced they're going to try to make a second trip back.
Fantastic. Good luck.
They lead by 16 at the moment, Southeast Melbourne. It is a game-high lead. Copes and Felix are back on the other side of this to break it all down in the halftime show. Southeast Melbourne leading 54-38 on Sunday Hoops.
Bosnia, Croatia, Serbia, Poland, Syria, Qatar, Russia, Italy, Canada, Australia. That might be it. End of my list. Some people's might be shorter.
Cal falling away from the basket.
Trey Cal on the back door, look.
There's Cal. Woohoo! Phoenix make their move with 2.5 to play.
Got a text from Slash Sports, Charles Misuraka. Trey Kell, who was previously, as you know, like way out of our budget, wants to have a meeting.
I just got home from playing in Italy, We were on like a family vacation, and my agent kept calling me like every day. They want to set up a meeting. Seeing the video, they really wanted me. They wanted to get it done, and that was something I haven't seen before, like behind the scenes on like how they recruit players.
Big day for the Phoenix. Trey Cal announced this morning.
Yeah, very big day for us. We're pretty excited. Trey, an incredible scorer. Like, he just scores in a multitude of different ways. It's going to put a lot of pressure on opposition defenses.
Never would have thought of being in this position, being where I started. That was really cool. Like, me and my agent talked about it and we saw it, and we're like, yeah, that was a really cool video for sure.
Well, when you nail it, you nail it. Getting an import in the NBL can sometimes be a lottery. It's great to see the behind the scenes look just how hard it is to nail that selection.
Look, they did a great job in picking their selection, and that's why they're rolling in the top 4 right now.
Well, let's check out the Hungry Jacks highlights, because that man, Trey Cal, has been putting on a clinic, but not the only one for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, who are finding the right shot. Andrew Gaze put it best when he said the Illawarra defense has been porous, to say the least.
It has been, but look, they're down 16 points, but it's a closer game than you think. You look at the stats, the guys are shooting 47%, and Southeast Melbourne is shooting 60%. So you're right, they got to play some defense, but both teams offensively are finding the basket.
Well, you're right. The scoreboard, it says 16 points, but the Illawarra Hawks, besides a little late fade out at the end of that quarter, have been well within this game. Right now, getting out rebounded. But you look at that ding ding just flying upstairs, getting it done. We'd like to see a little bit more of that, but right now, you see that pass there. Southeast Melbourne just making that extra pass and getting a better shot rather than the isolation play we're seeing from Illawarra.
Absolutely. Creaky's passing the ball, Rockoff's passing the ball. These guys actually need to shoot a little bit more because they're shooting over 60%. But look, they're playing team basketball, and that's what you need with a team who's desperately seeking the NBA championship.
Well, when you look at a team that's down 16 points, you don't usually see those type of percentages from the field. So look, right now, Southeast Melbourne put on a clinic offensively, but if you're the Hawks, you're saying it's going to be tough to replicate that in the second half.
It is. You know what, though? Southeast Melbourne are winning this game on rebounds. They're out-rebounding them 19-11. They got to get off, box them out, get on the glass, knock down shots and play defense.
Well, the man in the crowd came to celebrate in his 300th game today is Mitch Creek, and of course he started off strong, but you look at him, he could probably be taking a couple more shots. He's being his usual unselfish self tonight.
I said that before. I still think he needs to shoot the ball a lot more. He's a superstar already, but he's a team player, and I love that about him.
Well, you look across the board, Mitch Creek, Ryan Brokaw sitting at 3 of 3 as well. They can definitely see a bit more of the ball. 4 for 7, just his usual unselfish basketball from Mitch Creek. He's leading the league in scoring. Looks like he's going to do no damage to that this evening either.
Oh, don't worry about it. He'll get in the second half. He'll get going. 4 of 7. Get it up, Mitch. If that's me, I got 15 shots right now.
Well, Ant Williams, we speak about Southeast Melbourne making that extra pass. On the receiving end has been the big fella, Ant Williams. We saw a little bit on Trey Cal nailing that import spot. Well, I'll tell you what, Ant Williams, that guy as well, just an absolute dominant force. And right now, it's just a little too big for the Illawarra Hawks.
He's a man. He's a man beast. I stood next to him in the interview. He's a big boy. He's enjoying himself, too. His parents are out here. He's having fun. And him and Mitch Creek play well together. Mitch looks for him. He looks for Mitch. They play well together.
Always looking for that extra pass. One shining light for the Illawarra Hawks in that first half was their new import, Michael Frazier, who is 3 for 5 from the three-point line at the moment, but just looking to fit seamlessly into this team with 11 points so far.
He told me that his role was going to be defensive role, but he's come out and knocked down his 3 points. And look, he's playing great basketball. They got to get on board with him, maybe get him the ball, get on his back, and let him lead them to a game.
You're a smart man, Leonard Copeland. Anyone who says my role's defensive, they're lying, trying to play the team game. He's coming out to score, and he's doing a great job. But the man you just saw there, Mitch Creek, continuing to put on a clinic. It's a 16-point lead for the Phoenix, but still plenty of life left in the Hawks.
right now.
It's half-time at John Cain Arena, and this is our Latrobe Financial Legends competition. Cool, hard cash to the value of $50,000 up for grabs. You can enter on your screen, and here are just some of our local legends warming up, doing their thing. If their number gets called, I think judging from a few of those, they'll be okay. You can enter now, nbl.com.au/legends. Southeast Melbourne leading 54-38 at half-time. There's Jiva Mentor, superstar of the Collingwood netball team, and of course the English national team as well. She is a star and loves her hoops.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things this year we've seen, not just here in Melbourne, but right throughout the country. The NBL hottest ticket in town. Everyone wants to be there and check it out.
You've been peppered a little bit more this season for tickets, have you?
Yeah. A lot of people, and the good people at a lot of Victorians, good people at Phoenix and Melbourne United do a terrific job of looking after most. If you don't have this sort of reputation, you might be just a little in the rear type arrangement.
Impossible to accommodate everyone.
That's right.
Illawarra start the second half. Harvey was somewhere between a pass and a shot, ended up doing neither.
Sloppy outlet pass. That should have been an easy two for Ryan Brokoff.
Creek putting the ball on the floor, and early free throws coming. Has 13 at the half in game number 300. Highest score ever by a player in game number 300. Anthony Stewart, the great Anthony Stewart. Shout out to you, Stewart, who'll be watching today.
What do you have?
Had 32 for the Taipans at Sydney in 2002. Just so happened to be another bloke who I think he knows what's coming.
Okay. No, I'm not aware of this
Against the Gold Coast Rollers in 1995, had 38. Andrew Gaze in game number 300.
Did we win?
Don't worry about that.
You had 38.
Well, 54 in the second best half-time score for Phoenix this season. They had 58 against the Breakers. Have you already said that? No. But it does demonstrate that they are got some issues. They do have some issues, the Illawarra Hawks, on how they're going to slow down this Phoenix team.
Well, the biggest issue was back on display, that very play. Just the ability to sit down, stay in front of the ball. Straight line drive for Creek. And he's back on the free throw line. Big first few minutes of the second half here for Illawarra.
Seaver lays it up.
They're able to ride these periods of time against Sydney. Every time it looked like that game was going to get blown out, they hung tough, fought back, kept it close. Can they do the same here in this third quarter?
Turnover number 8 for Southeast Melbourne. Would you go back to that zone in that case? We spoke about it a bit in the first half. Would you go back to that for a few possessions?
Oh, look, it's something you've got up the sleeve. I wouldn't go to it against this starting unit. Guys like Ryan Brokoff and Trey Kell on the floor, they'll light you up from long range, and Alan Williams and Mitch Creek inside. But when the second group comes in, Ruben Tarangi and Junior Madout, something you could look at going back to.
Nice swipe of a bullet from outside.
Simple catch and shoot. I think you're right, but I don't mind throwing it in there, a possession here, a possession there, just to keep the offense honest and keep them guessing about what you're going to go to, so to try and be a little bit disruptive.
Creek wanted a foul. Nothing coming from the officials. They've scored their last 2 trips down the floor, Illawarra. Harvey got away from Brokoff and then fed Deng, who misses. Everything has to go right for Illawarra, including that.
And that's just perceived pressure rather than actual pressure. Deng can catch that and go up and just throw it down. And this time here, good on-ball screen, late switch, poor rotation, and he just maybe thought Williams was lurking or just overcooked it.
Earlier today, the New Zealand Breakers at 116-79. They go 2-0 on the weekend over the Brisbane Bullets.
Tough start for our man Sammy Mack. Williams man Sammy Mack. Difficult set of circumstances. I'm not. She wouldn't have had a full training session with the group before his first game, going into a white-hot New Zealand Breakers team on their home deck.
No Aaron Baines.
Couldn't have been a worse set of circumstances for Sammy.
No Tyrell Harrison as well. The two big. So
Unsportsmanlike foul. 3, 2 shots in possession. unnecessary contact to stop a transition play.
It's an interesting one. Thought on first look, Kel was in front here. No, maybe not. He was in front, but leaning across the body there. In stopping the transition play, and a real genuine play on the ball.
I think he knew what he was doing and was prepared to run the risk on that one.
Second last in the competition for free throws this season, Illawarra. Swaka goes 1 from 2. They're within 12. They trailed at the half by 16. Seaver for 3.
All right. Something to work with here for the Hawks. Down into single digits. Can they string a few stops in a row together?
The numbers back it up. Third quarters are their best this season, Illawarra, particularly at the defensive end of the floor. They started this quarter well here. Williams, too big, too strong, too hard to stop.
What, 9, and 2 shots. Here we go. We got 2 shots.
Well, that's simple offense for them, Drew. Yep, couple of possessions, they come up dry, and they just roll into the big fella in the block, and he's a mismatch down low.
On the pickup, he's grabbing my ball.
10 points, 6 rebounds for Alan Williams, and talk about competitions. How good's this one?
Oh, I love to chat with the Shaq.
Flights, a com, bit of spending cash, all taken care of.
Fun guy, very entertaining guy.
What would be your first topic of conversation with the big fella?
Well, I think the one that a lot of people would be interested in is the relationship with Kobe and how all that panned out. I know he has regret that he wasn't able to chat to Kobe prior to him passing away. Also, perhaps touch on his movie career. Blue Chips. Not bad, not bad. Some of the, what was the Kazam? Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Did not really work for me. But maybe the younger folk might have got a kick out of that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure they did.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to know how to do it, enter that competition and win your way to meet Shaquille O'Neal. 58-47 at John Cain Arena. Brockhoff.
Pull that off.
That one to go. It's knocked out of bounds.
Looked like they were in a little 1-2-2. And what I was talking about before, and the theory behind why you throw in a zone every now and again to be disruptive, that's pretty much what they were trying to do there. But you must make sure you know where Ryan Brockhoff is. Easy pass out of that token trap.
Harvey into that mid-range game. He's dangerous in that situation. Simon Mitchell seeing enough that he wants to have a chat about it.
That's where they're at the best, the Hawks. When Tyler Harvey is working off Sam Froling on those elbows, whether it's a catch from Froling and a handoff or a pick-and-roll action like that, that's where they're at their most dangerous. And Harvey, we know, when he gets to his float game, absolute cash money.
A reminder, last Sunday, Illawarra were down double digits. In quarter number 4, they got within 1. In fact, they did take the lead late in the game and lost by 1. So they have shown that if they hang around for long enough, they can be in the game late.
Yeah, and I think we've seen the best and the worst of Phoenix on the defensive end as well. We saw what they're capable of doing, but they go through some patches where it just seems a little easy for their opponents from time to time. And I reckon that's what Simon Mitchell would be focusing in. You're going to have some periods where you might miss some shots that you normally expect to make, but the way you compensate for that is what you do on the defensive end.
Youngsters loving it this afternoon at John Cain Arena.
Clappers, be very careful though.
Keep hold of them.
Just according to Felix, you can be a good 60 or 70 metres away and clap it a little too hard, and somehow that clapper might find its way onto the court.
Clapgate.
Bit of clapgate going on.
$50,000, nbl.com.au/legends. Inspector Von Hoff was on the case in Tasmania, wasn't he, a couple of weeks ago? Trey Cal drives all the way in and scores. They just continue to get whatever they want from that spot. Let's get to Leonard Copeland.
Listening to Simon, he said exactly what Drew said. We got to pick it up on the defensive end. We can't give them a sniff here. Offensively, we look okay, but defensively, they're scoring at ease, and that has to stop.
Well, let's see what kind of response Simon Mitchell gets out of that message. See Ryan Brockhoff calling in a little bit on Peyton Siva.
Ding Ding tees it up. 7 of 16 from outside today. Illawarra shooting at 43%, which is up on their season average. Williams tips it in. Leads back out to 13.
It's constant, relentless pressure on the rim. That time there, Gary Brown able to work his way into a pretty decent scoring opportunity, and how deep they can get makes it hard. Really puts a lot of pressure on your weak side to help your rotations.
Sam Froling has 8 points now.
Sometimes your best defense is your offense, and Sam Froling going back at Williams.
And Creek drives, scores, and one.
Timeout Illawarra. Now, Jacob Jackomas wants to have a chat about that. Here it is, Creek in his 300th game, just turning the corner. They're all turning the corner. Trey Cal turned the corner the previous possession, and this is just easy offense. Layup line kind of stuff here, and Jacob Jackomas wants to chat about it.
They're doing some things right, Illawarra, but they're being let down by the basic defensive fundamentals at that end of the floor.
Just trying to pack it in on that weak side, and yeah, you're might be exposed on those kick-out passes, but right now it's just all too easy. It's 56% from the field. They've only had 9 three-point field goal attempts. Now that's unusual, the way in which the game's played these days. Of their 41, only 9 have come, and they've made 5 of them. And you can see why. There's such high percentage of getting to the rim.
Well, I mean, there's a perception. This is not unusual for the Phoenix. No, there's a kind of a perception out there a little bit that they're a three-point shooting team. But as we said earlier, they're last in the league in three-point attempts. They put all kinds of heat on the rim, and they pound it inside. And that's why they love having Alan Williams as a target down there. And it's why he is starting to really round into form. Look, he's 2 rebounds off a double-double here midway through this third quarter. And he's just a big, big problem for the Hawks down there. When on the block, on the glass.
He's starting to become a big problem for everyone, Liam.
You're right.
18 and 15 last Saturday in the throwdown. He absolutely monstered Melbourne United. He's worked it out, and I think your point earlier was a really good one with Alan Williams. He's very quickly worked out how to play in this league and how he's going to be officiated in this league. And we've seen bigs in the past that haven't cottoned on as quickly as this.
Yeah, you're right. And it took him a hot little minute there in the preseason. There was a few games there where he was fouling out in pretty quick time, and some conversations with the officials. Obviously, the Phoenix went through that process with Joe Chi last year, so Simon Mitchell, no doubt, some words of advice along the way, and he's done a good job staying out of foul trouble ever since.
Phoenix by 13, looking for win number 7 this season in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Illawarra still searching for win number 2. Ding Ding with 4 on the clock. Threw it at the cup. Phoenix get things moving quickly. And doesn't drop for Cal. There's Michael Frazier, has 11 points. We barely saw him in that second quarter, and most of this third quarter. We'd like to see more of that.
Really good screen from Sam Froling up the floor. Punch screen, there it is. Cleaned up Ruben Tarangi and allowed Michael Frazier to get downhill.
Williams there with just the grabbing of the net. Called a goal team, basket interference.
Ruben Tarangi on the floor with Cal, Williams, Brockhoff, and Creek. There is Williams, and that rattles home.
It was a good quick move by Williams. Spuckle the bullet was on him down low, and You just worry about the understanding because he clearly had the size match. He's having an outstanding performance himself. That's up to 16 points, and there was just no thought of a double team or anyone running at him.
Mathian blocked over the back by Brockhoff. He wanted a foul. Seven on the shot clock. Brockhoff all up and in on Harvey. The steal and the layup.
Really good D from Brockhoff. Just up in the passing lanes. Little deflection, and he's off to the races.
And I love what Brockhoff's doing in a one-on-one situation on Tyler Harvey. It's going to be hard for him to keep him in front, but prevention's better than cure, so he's up and in just trying to deny him any catches.
3 of 7 for the afternoon, Tyler Harvey. Those long arms of Ryan Brockhoff. Couple that with the basketball IQ and you get plays like that.
Such an important piece for him. They actually really appreciate and like his defense, the Phoenix. Tommy Mitchell and that coaching staff. You see it on display there, but we talk about how much the Phoenix want to put pressure on the rim. Well, the gravity that Ryan Brockhoff provides at the offensive end, the fact that he pulls his defender out of the lane, out towards him, because they don't want to give up that three-point look, helps to open up that lane.
They lead by 16. Biggest lead in the game was 18. Early stages of quarter number 3.
And again, then.
Another turnover. Here comes Creek. A little something extra in game number 300.
Yeah, it's some fun there. Mitch Creek, the milestone man. The turnover up in the lane, and he's ahead of the pack. Finishes with authority.
There's a delay game warning following this dunk. Not sure what it was. We take a look at Creek, and I think it was Brown maybe hit the ball away.
Very quickly, it's back out to 18.
What they are doing, as we've seen all season, is working their way to the free throw line. They've had 19 free throws, 14 of 19. They're at 58% overall, as opposed to 4 of 8 from the Hawks.
I want to get your 2 opinions on this as 2 learner judges. We saw that dunk from Mitch Creek. Not quite in the same category as this one from last night from Rajon Tucker.
Yeah.
Where does it sit next to a little something that we saw earlier in the season from Xavier Cooks? There's Tucker.
Very nice. And to me, Cooks every day of the week. Very nice. Very, very nice by Rajon. Pulls it back, but it was sort of like a self-preservation by the 2 Jack jumpers, whereas if you look at the screen on your left, Isaac Humphrey going for the block, and the cock back, and the forceful nature of Cooks throwing that through gives him the nod from me.
Outrageous cockback from Cooks on that play. Something primal about that dunk, and I'm with Drew. I give that the #1 spot.
Leonard Copeland, what say you?
Okay.
No, let me tell you something. Come on, Jack. You got to ask somebody who knows something about dunking. You ask those 2 guys out, neither one of them have had a dunk in their career.
Excuse
Are you
me?
kidding me?
Excuse me.
Joey had a dunk on a 9-foot ring in Geelong. That's it.
Oh,
Come
you're
on.
joking. Actually, the Cooks' one was very reminiscent of mine, actually.
Oh, come on, Drew.
When it was at Geelong, over Darren Rowe.
The altitude, that thin Geelong air helps you sail.
Took a little ride.
Did indeed.
Gary Brown.
Lots of authority.
All class. It's a 17-6 run here for the Phoenix.
It's getting sloppy now for Illawarra. Just felt like they were hanging on, but the floodgates have opened a little in the last couple of minutes.
Junior Madut back on the floor with the job of trying to guard Tyler Harvey. Sometimes easier said than done.
And that right there is what we were talking about before when Ryan Brockhoff is on him. When he does get it in his hands, he's really crafty, able to get to the rim, and that's why you're trying to not let him catch it.
And this is the group for the Phoenix that we suggested maybe you would have a look at that zone. They tore it to shreds right there. But Jacobus has done exactly that. They bring Ryan Brockhoff out of the game, the Phoenix. Trey Kell out of the game as well, so they have a look at the zone.
Conrad lets it fly. His first field goal attempt of the game. The lead is back out to a game-high 20. Junior Madut doesn't get it to go. It's last touched by the Phoenix. Jacob Jacobus, first year as coach. He's finding things a little difficult at 1 and 9. Two minutes to play in the third quarter. There's Hickey. Drives inside. Phoenix saw what was coming. That's how to play.
And that was another example we've heard many times about what Dane can do. In that drop situation, he's able to kick his arms nice and wide and help as they try to chase over and catch up. He's still in that lane to put enough pressure on the ball to have the ball carrier thinking about that drop-off pass.
23-point lead off the back of that Trey Kell treble.
Nice execution from the Phoenix. The Hawks go into that zone. So the Phoenix run some action for the best three-point shooter they have on the floor. Generate an open look.
And Tarangi comes up with the steal. Brown Jr., Gary Brown, I should say, not Barry Brown Jr., calls off the chase. We saw Brown Jr. earlier today. Gary Brown now buries it.
Well, having some fun out there now. Brown and Kell celebrating in unison.
Conrad lets it fly, and that stems a bit of the bleeding.
And with Brown, the scouting report would be to go under him. He's only at 21% from the field. But yet, guy guarding the screen's got to carry a hand, put a little bit of pressure, and my goodness, there is a lot of fun and shenanigans going on after every three-point field goal made.
Trey Kell's made 3 of them now. He's up to 19. Rich Creek's the game's leading scorer with 21.
Well, they're well and truly piling on the points. Had 27 in each of the first 2 quarters, the Phoenix, and they've brought up 54 at halftime, and they've piled on 30 in this third term as the floodgates start to open.
Here we go.
10 on the clock for the Hawks. Hickey pulls up. That jumper is short. Another big quarter from Southeast Melbourne, and it's a big lead heading into three-quarter time. They are up 26 on the Illawarra Hawks, and they are starting to really have some fun out there. Trey Kell for 3. Gary Brown for 3. They're smiling, they're laughing, there's shenanigans going on at John Cain Arena. You're watching Sunday Hoops. 84-58 at three-quarter time. John Cain Arena in Melbourne, the venue for Sunday Hoops. The Southeast Melbourne Phoenix have got their offensive game going in a big, big way. Quarters of 27, 27 and 30. Give them a 26-point lead with a quarter remaining.
Yeah, it is. It's been impressive by the Phoenix. You look back to last week at this Illawarra Hawks, they can be a handful, but they've been methodical the way they've gone about, and of course shooting the ball extraordinarily well. 61% from the field, 8 of 13 from the three-point line. Hang on, 8 of 14.
Harvey found a little bit of room and knocks that one down. What can they get out of this last quarter, Illawarra?
Got to keep punching. Got to keep punching. Owe it to their fans that are watching on a Sunday afternoon. They would have loved the fight they saw from their squad. Really were probably robbed of that win in Sydney last week and just haven't really brought it, especially at the defensive end.
And you know what? I think further to that is start to recognise the problem where clearly it has been. Jacob's tried a few different things, looked at the zone, but maybe have a look at on those on-ball screens, running a bit of blitz action and getting in your rotations. Try something, because this game, unfortunately for them, is gone. But have a look at some options on how the variations you can put in and who is going to be good at those options as well.
At the defensive end of the floor, is it system, or is it intent, or is it a combination of all of these things? Where do they fall down at that end?
Well, first and foremost, you've got to have the energy and effort and determination and commitment. Doesn't matter what system you have. If you're not out there applying yourself in that system, it ain't going to work. The offense in this league is too good. And then, of course, you've got to understand the personnel you're playing against and the various strategies and the variations. You'll have an overall theme to the way in which you'll play, but you'll then have some variations according to specific personnel. Oh, that's an offensive foul.
Froling with the block first and then took the charge.
Too small.
Well, he may be a little too small, but it was still an easy call. Overzealous.
There we go.
Right here with that right shoulder. Bang. Easy whistle.
Extends the right arm.
I think the other thing they could look to try to get out of this fourth quarter is continue the transition of Michael Frazier into the squad. I like that from Tyler Harvey. Back-to-back triples for him early in this quarter. Michael Frazier was big early on. Had 8 points in that first quarter. And maybe a little quieter since then. He's on 13. He's the team's second leading scorer. Try to find him some more looks in this fourth quarter and get him assimilated.
Amy replay. This is a pretty good starting point. Tyler Harvey had 32 last Sunday. 16 of them came in the fourth quarter. Coming into this last quarter, though, Liam had only had 8 field goal attempts for the game.
And then walk 4. 2.
Well, you credit the Phoenix and their D for some of that. Certainly, Trey Kell, Ryan Brockhoff, those guys have had that matchup. And that's the primary job when you're playing the Hawks right now, is keep a lid on Tyler Harvey, and they've been able to do that. They're flying a little under the radar, Drewy. You think the Phoenix build some momentum here? As I said, they win this one, and Cairns, if they lose to the defending champs tomorrow, they'll be tied on wins and losses, 7 and 5. Joe Chi still to work his way back into this lineup.
I don't think they're under the radar. I think most people had them in their top 4 at the start of the season. And it's just the start they had when they had so many injuries and missed games by some of their key components. They dropped some, but since they've had their personnel on deck, they've been pretty solid throughout, with the exception of that little weekend they had where they lost to Perth and Melbourne in a poor defensive display. And Simon Mitchell, their head coach, very willing to let everyone know about his displeasure at what was happening on the defensive end as well.
Double-double for Alan Williams this afternoon. He's called for that foul. Here's Frazier. stepping into the three, Froling. Offensive rebound, and then swift hands by Williams. I guess the thing with the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix is that the time is now. I don't think it's unfair to... I know we're only 8 rounds into the season, but this is the best team they've had on paper. This is a season where they have to really try and go deep, isn't it, Liam?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, they had a good roster last season, wasn't they?
Yeah.
Didn't all come together. The Brockhoff injury hurt. Harvey picks up the foul there. He'll go to the strike. But they've improved that roster coming in. I think these 3 imports are legit. And then you've got, as I said, a guy like Joe Chi to come in. Creek playing at an MVP level. Brockhoff playing at a high level as well. So it's an interesting one. You know, there's been a lot of talk over the last few weeks about the current top 3, Sydney. Then the conversation about, all right, are we all ready to accept New Zealand and Kansas championship contenders? I'm not sure if the conversation about the Phoenix as a genuine championship contender and a team who could potentially hoist that trophy when all is said and done has been all that front of mind.
I think they can. It's, to me, they have got all the pieces, and just can they get it done on the defensive end? And that's been their issue since coming into the competition. They've had some really good offensive talent and just haven't really figured out what's going on the defensive end. And this year, though, it's been better.
19 points for Alan Williams. They go back out to a 25-point lead. And Froling and Creek a little caught up. Creek's not letting go of that thing, and neither's Froling. They can be here all night. Alan Williams and Deng Deng have had a couple of clashes as well.
It's over here, guys. You're on over where it happens. Yeah. I'm trying to keep you in the game. Right. You need to be smarter and work with me. Okay? Can't be crazy.
Rich Creek and Sam Froling. I don't think you've played a game of basketball if you haven't had this situation where you didn't want to give up the rock in a jump ball.
You can't be the one that lets go. Under no circumstances can you be the one that lets go.
Well, I think Creaky saw the funny side of it.
I think 25 down. I'm not sure Sam was as jovial.
The thing with the Phoenix is continuing that conversation we were having before. Their issue is the difference between their best and their worst defensively is sizable. Maybe the biggest in the league. Arguably, you can have a game like this one where, you know, you're keeping a team in the 60s and the 70s. You keep Melbourne United at 46 at three-quarter time. But then you have these other games where you give Perth 100 plus. You give Melbourne 100 plus. It's when Simon Mitchell described their defense as trash. And when you get in the playoffs, the bump and grind, you can't have those swings and roundabouts. Whereas you look at a team like New Zealand, man, their defensive floor is really, really high.
Fascinating game on Thursday. The first game of round 9, it will be New Zealand and Southeast Melbourne in Christchurch.
When's Joe Chi supposed to be back?
I reckon he'll be back next week.
Because he came in and he was not in shape.
No,
but sort of started to get us going a little bit, and then has now had another spell.
Williams takes it at Froling and picks up the foul. Meanwhile, Mitch Creek a bit sore off the ball. Didn't quite catch it at first glance.
Well, Michael Allen just asked the replay center to review the play that resulted in that issue for Mitch Creek.
I think he was on the rebounding situation, and it might have involved Schweikel a bullet on a box out.
We talk about Joe Chi, Drury. I think We saw that one game, maybe 3 or 4 rounds ago. The Phoenix whacked the Breakers.
Here he is, Joe
in
Chi.
New Zealand.
Yep.
And that was probably the window to what this team can potentially be with Joe Chi in the lineup, working in tandem with Alan Williams. They belted the Breakers by 20 plus that night. Come on! Joe Chi, highly efficient, coming in, just catching and dunking everything he caught in limited minutes. That was kind of, I think, a little taste of what they potentially could become later in the year.
Harvey reaching in, whistled for his second foul. Illawarra's 4th of the period.
And what he can do for them on the defensive end can really enhance their rim protection. He's a good shot blocker, protect the paint. But in the on-ball situations, it's a different story. And it can be a little hit and miss with him and how he can deal with those circumstances as well. So there's a little razzle-dazzle.
Gary Brown has 11. 94-68 at John Cain Arena. Equal biggest lead of the game right now. Little floater from Siva. We won't see Illawarra until next Monday. Their only game of round 9. They'll play host to Melbourne United. We mentioned the Phoenix. They play Thursday against the Breakers in New Zealand. And then Saturday in the 3rd throwdown of the season against Melbourne.
Well, the question is there a win in sight for the Illawarra Hawks team at some point? This is going to be 9 straight losses now. Geez, that goal came oh so close last week because they had the overtime loss to Melbourne United a couple of weeks ago. Need a breakthrough victory.
Maybe just try and win this one instead. The MG ZSEV, Drewy.
Yep.
100% electric. It's the way the world's heading. It's the way that you want to head.
My word. Beautiful vehicle. And affordable, I might add. When it comes to the electric options out there, right now, the MG, if not, in fact, I'm going to say it, just, and I don't even know if it's true, the most affordable electric vehicle for that level of excellence on the market.
I think you might be right.
Have you fired up the electrical? You've been talking about it for a couple of...
No, I love it. I don't have an electric vehicle, but it's one that's...
Certainly sound like you're interested in one.
Next car I get will be of the electric variety, no doubt about it.
Maybe a letter to Santa?
No, I think Santa's got that in him this year.
I'm sure our friends at MG might be able to sort you out. Burgers for Phoenix fans. The code word is alley. It's dinner time in Melbourne. Grab one on the way home. Frazier gets inside for a couple.
I've seen enough of this to say this is a big, really good pickup for the Illawarra Hawks. Provided he can get this consistently from Michael Frazier, which was the issue last season with the Wildcats.
Here comes Creek.
Yeah, it's been a really solid debut. 17 points, 7 of 13 from the field. This is quintessential. Mitch Creek in transition. All you can do is foul him as he puts heat on the rim. But he looks good. Looked really good, Michael Frazier. So going to bring that second scoring punch. You get Harvey going, you get Frazier going. Peyton Siva was awfully quiet tonight from a distribution standpoint, coming in leading the league in assists. Only thrown 3 of those today, and you've got to get Sam Froling going. He's sort of swapping big games for quiet games, Sam Froling, over the past kind of 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks. Get all those guys going on the same night, ramp it up defensively. And you try to snap this losing streak that's bordering on double digits.
Celebration time for the Phoenix. Alan Williams' afternoon is done. Sits down with another double-double. 21 and 12. Dane Pinot back in. Frazier, tough pass for Froling to reel in. Shot clock at 7. Harvey, 5 to work with. His pass intercepted, and it'll be an unsportsmanlike foul. Straightforward call. Unfortunately, the rules are pretty clear when it comes to that play now.
So here goes. Go line up. 2 shots.
And free throws for Trey Cal at the other end.
Hold up. 2 seconds. Michael's no line.
Well, he's had a bit of a breakout performance here. Trey Cal came in talking about how he had been a bit quiet over his last 3, 8 points per game over those. And they got him going early. They put him in the block against some mismatches, gave him the ball as the secondary ball handler when Gary Brown went to the bench, and he's piled on 20 plus.
And I think when you see performances like this and thinking, well, that's got to be the basis for how we do get him going. This shouldn't just be a one-off. It should be something that they look at, and it does. You know, you look at someone like Kyle Adnam, who out today, but you know, maybe they do have to find more time for him in that position to get him going. And if that's the case, there's got to be sacrifice from someone else because positionally. And they're the tough decisions that coaches from time to time will have to make, because it's not like Kyle Adams done a whole lot wrong. Hasn't shot the ball as well as he's like, with only 32% from the field. But he brings something to the team, and that's where you got to make those decisions that, or how ultimately are we going to be best placed to have our chance to win the whole box and dice. And this is their window that they are in right now. They are absolutely in that window of thinking about winning the whole thing, not just having a really, really solid season.
I think it's a really good call. I think Kyle Adnam will be perfectly fine in that kind of role, playing off the ball a little bit in his minutes off the bench. And Cal, as he misses that one, he ran a little of the point previously. We saw at half-time his journey over the course of his career. In time in Italy, I think a bit of Canada. He spent some time on the ball running some point. I think this is something we might see a bit more of.
Gets in deep, and even that goes. They are having an afternoon, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Well, I think their fans can sense it. The volume of fans are getting to their home games now, the excitement, and all of a sudden we've got some Daniel's Donuts now. I'm not sure what's going on here, but the Daniel's Donuts is a delightful little savoury type arrangement that's on offer.
They've got to get over 100.
Get over 100.
They get the donuts.
Donuts.
So you get the burger.
Right.
And then you get dessert with the donut.
Jeez.
Tick.
Yeah, tick. I've been to the Daniel Donut store.
Have you?
Boy, do they have variety that they can dish up.
Geez, did you go to town?
Incredible variety. All sorts of stuffings and flavourings. It's not just your run-of-the-mill jam number, which is there, I might add.
Nothing wrong with the jam number.
Absolutely.
You are a well-known sweet tooth as well.
Well, yeah. You see the work and artistry that goes into making a donut. It's hard not to appreciate.
3 players have scored over 20 for Southeast Melbourne. There you see it on your screen. First time since game 1 of the 2020 semi-final series that's happened. He'll be over and back on Madut. And Mitch Creek will check out. Game number 300 is a winning one for him. He just so happens to be the leading scorer in the game as well. 27 points, 9 of 13 from the field, plus 14 in his time on the floor, and continues his reign as the competition's leading scorer.
Marvellous milestone match for Creek. And he is in unbelievable form right now. 26, 27 points per game over his last 4, including this one. Playing, as the boys said earlier, playing really the best of his career as he brings up 300 as Junior Madut sticks the step back.
What's the efficiency as well? He's leading the league in scoring, but he's doing it at almost 52% from the field.
Madronya baseline. Equal season high afternoon for Southeast Melbourne with 103. They're not done yet. Tarangi for Anticevich in the corner.
What a nice looking stroke.
Young man with plenty of talent, Grant Anticevich. 23 years of age, first professional contract. He's coming off 5 years with the UC Berkeley Golden Bears. He's a name to keep an eye out for the future. Junior Madud almost. And the changes keep coming for the Phoenix. We see Anzac Rossetto checking in on debut here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. There he is, 21 years of age, out of Auckland, New Zealand. Spent 3 years playing at North Carolina under Aaron Fern. Now getting his opportunity here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. AK Gak also in for Illawarra, so both teams have cleared the bench. And Rossetto wanted to go to work. Madronya reaching in, will be called for a foul, and the youngster will be on the free throw line for his first points.
It's a nice moment. There'll be some nerves for him, no doubt. Want to make sure he gets himself on the board, gets himself in the history books.
It's a good size, 6'10", took over 100 kilos.
Nothing but net. The starters love it. Looking on.
It's going to be Southeast Melbourne's biggest win of this season. Now it's just a question of what that final margin looks like. It sits at 34 with a minute remaining. Colin Foxwell up and in on Lockie Dent, called for a foul.
You mentioned the stroke from Grant Anticevich. We saw a bit of him in the pre-season at the Blitz. Mitch Creek, of course, didn't play any of the pre-season. And looked good. I mean, he's a player. We're going to see a lot of him over the years, Grant Anticevich. On the flip side, AK Gak, it's a guy I thought we'd maybe see a little bit more of this season in the rotation for the Hawks. Played for the Bulls at the Summer League and held his own in that environment. Real athlete and can't really work his way into the rotation.
That's a good point, and a lot of it can be the circumstances, the nature of the competition, and where your skill sets can be exposed and recognised. Sometimes, you know, there are a lot of players, even if you take even, oh my goodness, that's nice. Back to back. Now, he's a player that's played at a big-time program in Cal Berkeley, Pac-12 school, and played significant minutes, meaningful minutes, I should say, across the course of his career. But there are many NBA players, and that's many, not a few, many NBA players that would come to our league, and because of the style of play, the nature of the game, would not have the same impact they do in an NBA game.
Well, Foxwell wants to get in on the act. Everyone else is draining him from deep. He's off the front of the iron. And late two from Madronya. The biggest win of the season for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Can just get a little bigger. A couple of late free throws for Rossetto. There's a lot of smiles on that bench today. Simon Mitchell will be happy with his team's outing, particularly in the second half. They completely blew Illawarra apart. They win it by 36. 112-78. The Southeast Melbourne Phoenix take their season record to 7-5.
Powerful display. Put the sword to him. Danger game, as Cope said from the outset, as Sydney found out last week, but the Phoenix, once they got their noses in front, they just kept the pedal to the metal and powered away for a big-time home win.
And there is our Foot Locker player of the game, Mitch Creek, in game number 300, 27 points, 9 of 13 from the field, finished with 6 rebounds, 3 assists as well, and plus 14. He's a star of the competition, and right now, he looks as good as we've seen him in quite some time.
Oh, well, he does, and Mitch Creek is one that I know he's had some issues over the years, but if I'm Brian Goorjian and I'm thinking of Australian representation, he must be in the coaches' thinking and their plans for the future.
My word, he would be. There's his numbers as the Foot Locker player of the game. The Phoenix now well and truly ensconced inside the top 4. And for Illawarra, their season of woe continues. The Phoenix big winners today, 112-78. We're going to come back and wrap it up next.
It's a bad day to be an Illawarra Hawk in Melbourne because the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix brought their A game and proverbially spanked the Illawarra Hawks by 34 points. Did not let up all game, Leonard Copeland.
They certainly turned it on. That second half, they came out and played Phoenix basketball. They shot the ball extremely well the whole game. And I just love the way they're playing basketball right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Hawks were hanging around in the first half. 16 points was the margin, but there was some fight. But as soon as that second half came around, as we wrote the Hungry Jacks highlights, it was all Southeast Melbourne. You look at that Seaver getting a three, but it didn't get much better after that.
You know what, and Simon spoke about their defense. There were times when they didn't play great defense, but you see the steals here. These guys were up and in, you know, playing great defense as a team. And then when you got a guy like Brown who's running the point and dishing the ball and getting guys involved, it's going to be a great team to play with.
Well, the most amazing part for me, 112 points. We know that they can surprise on the offensive end, but 112 points is quite the total considering the unselfish style of basketball they played. There was almost very limited isolation play. It was always next pass. Ant Williams, Mitch Creek, these guys just making it work as we break down the stats here. It was all happening for the Phoenix.
You're shooting 50% from the three-point line. You're going to be in every game you play with. And the fact that they shot 34 free throws as a team means they were pushing that ball and getting to the basket.
Well, we look at that rebound count right there, 40-26. Now, legally, I am not allowed to talk about rebounding. You can talk to Andrew Goes about that. But, Leonard, you're not going to win many games getting out-rebounded and outshot the way that the Phoenix did to the Hawks today.
Look, they look like a legitimate team. Although they got a tough week coming up, they got to go to New Zealand, and they play Melbourne United. So if they can get over those two, I'm backing them.
Well, it was all Mitch Creek. Game 301 coming up next week. He was dominant tonight.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jacks and Bunnings Warehouse.